On today's bachelor party, we're just doing some odds and ends. I've got some more things to say about this week's episode, which we just need to examine a little bit more. Plus, big Kardashian news. So let's just get into it. Let's batch. This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. All right, it's official. I think I've discovered the ultimate coupling of all time. Like any good relationship, they really balance each other out. One is super sweet, and the other, well, they can be a little nutty sometimes. It is, of course, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. So perfect, some would call it true love. Find Reese's now at a store near you. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. Welcome to Bachelor Party. I'm Juliet Litman. Tonight, really, I'm podcasting after dark, which isn't hard given that it's December and the sun sets around 4:30 wherever you may be in this fair country or anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, really. I'm Juliet. I'm joined by Amelia Wedemeyer, who you may see on our Twitter feed and all the Bachelor Party feeds. Amelia, hello.
Hello. How are you?
You know, I'm doing well. I'm a little loopy. Who knows where this podcast will go?
I love that.
When the sun starts setting at like 3:30, I'm just like, shit, I need to get outside before it's dark. And then I'm like, my thought at that time is always, should I go get a baked good? And then sometimes I do it. Sometimes I don't. For some reason, I'm just like, I need a cupcake.
That sounds amazing. From Magnolia? Or that's the only like New York place I know. Okay, all right. Never mind.
I knew that was based on Sex in the City. Magnolia is good though. They've got really good banana pudding.
Ooh, oh my God. I love banana pudding. Oh, I just love pudding. But
Me
okay,
too.
sorry. Yeah, anyway.
All right, Amelia, where are you at this season? Do you like it? We haven't really talked about it in a while. 1v1.
Yeah, okay. So I thought it couldn't get much worse than the whole Dale and Claire story show, if you will. But I'll be honest with you, and I've talked about this with several Ringer employees, and I don't mean to call them out, but no.
Name them.
Well, Dylan Berkey, who does the video stuff with me, and he
produces No Rose All Thorn. All Thorn,
exactly.
No Rose?
No Rose All Thorn. It's.
No
I
Rose,
mean, we can
Thorn.
do either or. But he's so smart and he's so right. It's just it's an exhausting season. And I also talked to Jason Gallagher about this too, and he too thinks it's an exhausting season. And honestly, it is. And I'm not trying to take away from any of the conversations that people have had, but I do think there's a way to go about these conversations, and they're just not doing all of them in the manner in which I wish they would.
Yes. And so by these conversations, do you mean like the men explaining to Tayshia their various previous trauma that they've suffered and sort of like sharing that as a way of like letting her know who they are?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Mal and I had a long catch up about The Bachelorette, which happens to be this week's episode on Tuesday.
Love that episode. Yeah. Well, love Mal, but
the
yeah.
best. Yes. Love Mallory.
She's great.
And, we talked about it. I think as I thought about it more and more this week's episode and combined with the previous, I think there just feels like something really cheap in the way that these guys' stories are being told. And that's not a reflection of them.
Not at all.
Or Tayshia at all. I really admire Ben and Zach and Riley and really everyone. Everyone, I think, has really bared themselves. I mean, and Ivan, of course, Ivan, it's brave to speak the words about police brutality and George Floyd on the show, where it's like
completely.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So really, I don't think this is on them at all. But I think the like boom, boom, boom of hearing these really intense, traumatic stories of what these men have endured just is like it's like at best distasteful and like at worst like really damaging and actually not helpful. And
Totally.
I think that there's like, there's always a fun in watching the show, sort of the way that like in a very like high schoolish way where you just sort of like can't look away. And it's like all these people who, you're like part of the joke of like making fun of them. But I think the last 2 weeks in particular have really tested like the fun of the show because there's been real life stuff to contend with. And I was really thinking about it with Ben. I mean, for Ben to reveal that he's attempted suicide twice fairly recently,
right,
is such a big deal. And
totally,
I don't think I really processed it at first. Like I thought about it more, and I just like it's the kind of conversation that the Bachelor is not really capable. The Bachelorette is not really capable of like really doing justice to, and like really sussing out. And like I really admire him for sharing, and obviously he's taking care of himself. And I was really glad he talked about his therapy, but it's just like hard to get this information in this package and then just kind of like move on to like the next one.
Definitely. And I felt weird that they had no like trigger warning about this kind of thing that was going to be talked about, because that's a very serious issue. And it was just treated as if it was like, okay, great. This is like a conduit for her to say, wow, you've opened up so much. Yeah. Which shouldn't be the whole entire point of the story. Like, you shouldn't have to go through this really traumatic event and share it to be like, well, we're really connected because you shared your trauma with me. It's just, especially because it's like on a national stage. He even said like the closest person in his family is his sister. He hadn't even shared that with her.
Right.
And I felt like he was almost pressured to be, and I don't want to put any words in his mouth or anything, but it felt like he felt pressured to spill all this information just to get like well, now you've opened up. Thank you for doing so.
Yeah. And it becomes like a shorthand for connection because they don't have time, right? So it's like, because you don't have the time to like get to know each other. Like you don't have the time to like wait 10 days, which I think is a totally permissible amount of time to be like, yeah, I had fun. Let's try this, run it back. Let's try this again. Like you don't, they have to compress it. And so they like sort of have to tell their full story so that like Tayshia and they have the information to know, like, do we want to pursue something together? Because like, not only does she need to know who they are, but I think if you're someone who suffered a trauma or like some life event, you want to know how your significant other like will respond to it and handle it, and like what kind of supportive partner they'll be. I think the other thing that's also like troubling, and I felt this really a lot during the group date where Ben stripped, was like,
sorry.
I know.
Just like,
oh God. I just feel like there's like an escalation, right? Where it's like you have to like one up someone with like your trauma. And they are not to be compared, and everyone, it's just like, it's just very perverse.
No, totally. And I feel as if, and I do applaud that they had the Black Lives Matter conversation, that they
absolutely took, huge deal.
A great care, I think, with, and they stayed on it for an appropriate amount of time. I mean, honestly, they could have done it longer, but I understand. But it's just like, I feel like they kind of breezed by this whole like, okay, well, he tried to commit suicide twice, and then here's a suicide prevention hotline number. And it's just like, that deserves more, time devoted to that. Or like, don't even do it.
It's also a lot to put on Tayshia. Like,
100%.
Yeah. That's a good point, though. You don't have to air it. But then if you don't air it, it's like, what is their date? Because they are using this as a shorthand. There's no clear way out of this. I think what bothers me the most is really the way there's like becomes this impulse to like compare trauma. And maybe that's just my own impulse, but I do think that was like presented in a way where it was like, because they're competing for Tayshia, like their stories become like part of the competition. And that's like really gross. And
it totally is.
It's tough. It was fun having Tayshia because the guys seemed so excited about her, and like there was a lot of joy. I felt like joy's become like my touch point. I'm like in desperate search of joy in COVID, so I just like talk about it all the time.
Which you should watch The Unicorn. I know I've told you that already,
you keep telling me to watch it. I gotta watch that.
Very delightful.
What is it about?
It's about a widowed man who has to raise his 2 daughters by himself, but also has like these really fun friends. He has 2 like couples that are his friends, and they
Is
just
this
like
on Netflix?
Yes, the first
Is it
season is on
Canadian?
Netflix.
Is it Canadian?
No, it's a CBS show with Walton Goggins.
Oh,
Do you
yes, of course.
Yeah.
I don't like Walton Goggins. He's like a cult figure, and I feel like Chris Ryan might defriend me over that, but I just don't really like Walton Goggins. Also, I always think he's a villain. Is he playing a nice guy?
Oh, he's the main character, nice guy. His whole thing is that he's a unicorn that these women are like, whoa, I've never met someone who's available and nice and amazing. So, yeah, I think he looks like Jim Carrey in The Mask a little bit.
Jim Carrey in The Mask. Yeah, it's just been, I think also when you consider the conditions of this season where like presumably, even if these guys weren't all like very strictly quarantining before they got to Palm Springs, they were forced to quarantine out the La Quinta, and now they're like in this bubble, and everything just becomes so intense and heightened.
Yes.
You saw Zach crying, right? Like I really related to that. He probably feels a lot of pressure. It probably feels really intense, and it just seems like a lot. To quote Tayshia.
Yes, iconic art lesson, Tayshia. I think that with the whole outside circumstances with COVID, it's so like you want to know how your family is doing, and it's so hard. And I always make fun of the people on Survivor because they're like they're gone for 30 days, or 39 days, but they break down when they see their family members. But like I get it, like I understand, and and you're in this closed environment, and there's like a pandemic going on, and it's like you're not getting any outside information. That would be such like an isolating, scary situation to be in. So I totally get them being emotional. Yeah,
I know. I do too. And I think Stacia's handling the best that she can.
Totally.
Just I don't know how you're supposed to navigate that. It's very tricky. It's very tricky.
100%.
Who do you like, Amelia? I'm curious. Like we haven't talked about who some of your faves are. Even people who are departed.
Wow. Well,
I'm just curious. Like I'm curious who people are gravitating to this season, because there's been so many guys, and Tayshia's front runners are very clear, I think. But I think there's a lot of other dudes to assess. Like I've come around on Spencer. I feel like I was really mean about him. I hated him.
Me too.
I hated him based on like stereotypes, but I actually think he seems like kind of a nice guy.
Yeah, no, I totally get when you're talking to Nora about how you could meet him at any like bar in Santa Monica. I was like, well, maybe I'll go back to LA one day and meet Spencer at a bar, because I liked when he was a good narrator. Like he wasn't like trying to be funny or anything, but it was just like, hey, yeah, Blake talks about sex a bunch. And I was like, I get that. Okay, cool. Thank you, Spencer, for being that narrator. I like Spencer. I liked him. I'm very shocked that she didn't pick him, because he is the first guy since I think 2014 that hasn't received the first impression rose and gone on to the final 4.
Yeah, I know.
Which is wild.
By the way, have you followed Bachelor Data?
Oh, no, but I know I've looked at it.
There's some great stats on there that this one young woman puts together. She just does it manually. She sits at her computer and tabulates it up. It's like pretty impressive.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at it.
I know. But I think she put together a similar timeline, which is why I bring it up.
Yes,
He seems like he's just like here for a good time, not a long time, and that's okay. I feel like that's fine. You need a vibe guy in the house.
So true, with his like little Hawaiian shirt or whatever.
Yeah,
he's wearing.
exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. We stan. I don't mean to embarrass you or anything, but I wasn't the only one who said, wow, Juliet and Joe had a moment. I literally got DMs. Me personally got DMs because they know that I run the Bachelor Party Twitter account and the Instagram account, and I got DMs from people being like, Juliet and Joe?
I too got a lot of feedback on that interview, and I think it was well received. Really nice guy. I just like,
you do have a great chemistry. I'm sorry, but yeah,
thank you. I appreciate it. I don't even know what to say to that. I will say, I'm like worried. Like I was like, I just feel like if you are an anesthesiologist in like a second wave of COVID, It's like really intense. Just hope the Dr. Joe's okay.
Well, I mean, me too. But yes,
it's not funny. It's just like
no, it's not. It's not.
I know. It's like this is like uncomfortable laughter. It's like it's like such like, but it's like so real. I think that like also really put it in perspective for me. I was like, these guys moved into the bubble,
Totally.
like coming from like a crazy world, no idea like what they were going to go back to. And it was actually really funny when he was like, yeah, I thought like I would just probably miss like COVID and the election. And I was like, yeah, that's basically right.
Sure.
Yeah. Hope Dr. Joe's doing great and staying sane. It has to be really, really hard as the second wave is taking hold. But
absolutely wild. But
he's a fan favorite. That's why I'm so worried about him going on Paradise.
I know. The thing is like, you know, and he's Korean American. I'm Korean American. So I'm just like, yes, like the one Korean American on a reality show.
I totally get
stand.
When there's a Jewish person, I'm just like, this is great.
Yeah, exactly. So I love the response from people to Joe because he's a great guy. But obviously, yes, he's gone. So him and Spencer, I really liked. I really like Jason, who is also gone.
I like Jason too. I'm also worried about Jason's well-being. I'm like, is he okay?
Yeah,
I think he is. I read a Q&A with him, so I think he's doing fine. But he was really upset.
He was heartbroken, and I was like, damn, Claire, that's rude. Yeah, I don't know. But from the guys that are there, obviously, I love Ivan. I think Ivan is so smart and sweet and just like a good guy, and he's super handsome. So love Ivan. I was also really sad about Damar. I really liked Damar. I was
Me
like,
too. We're gonna get Damar on this podcast. If it's the last thing I do in 2020. I haven't gotten a yes on that, but I'm gonna make it happen because I want to do a bachelor quiz with him since apparently he knows so much.
And he's so freaking funny. Like he had that line when he's like, I went to ASU and I know how to spell limousine. And then he also said,
I know we love a self-effacing bachelorette contestant.
Yeah. And I loved his song to Tayshia too. I thought he should have won, honestly. So it was sad to see him go because he was really fun. But I also really like from the people who are still there. So Ivan and Brendan. I love Brendan. He's just a nice dude.
Brendo.
He's just a nice guy. You know, I'm just like, sure, why not?
Yeah, he. I don't know. It is a good group of guys. This direction of slightly older and also like I guess I've looked into a bunch of them. And it seems like they were recruited in different ways, and many of them they like actively recruited instead of using like the kind of like pool of applicants they've had in the past. And you can tell it makes a big difference. I'm really into it. One thing I learned about Bennett is that he's a recruiter in the finance field.
Oh, and wow.
That like really changed my opinion of Bennett. I thought that he was like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, me too.
And while I'm not judging at all, I was like, that's not the role I imagined him having. I thought he was like a financial shark, and he's just something a little bit different. And I was like, oh, interesting. Okay.
Totally. This is news to me. I'm shocked, but
I know. Didn't you think he was like a trader walking across the stock exchange floor every day?
Yeah, wearing like suspenders. Yes, of course.
Yeah, I just was like, oh, interesting information, but he seems to be doing well. How did you feel about Bennett? You pro or con? I feel like you wouldn't be into him. He's not your type.
I was like, yeah, Betty, he's funny, but now I'm just like, oh my God, like we get it. We understand. You're smart. Like and then he did the whole rude gift to Noah, which was upsetting and not okay. And I was just like, the
whole gift thing was really
dumb. Wild.
I know there was, when Tayshia said like, what's in the box? Like, like that was clearly a pickup, and it's just stupid.
It was a pickup. Oh my God. Like the biggest pickup. It was like the Cheetah Girls movie.
It's like Top Chef level when you hear Padma do a voiceover. It's so very obvious.
What's in the box? Yeah, exactly. And I thought that also he never addressed him being a cowboy. I was like, what? Can we get more about you being a cowboy?
Yeah, it was just like, it was just weird. Although apparently Noah was very nice on Bachelor Happy Hour, and he's been a nurse during COVID, so shout out to him, I guess.
Good for him.
I will like remember this group of guys as like a really fun bunch in totality, But the only ones that I really like want to know more about, like really, are Ivan and Dr. Joe. Like those are the only two.
Sure. No, I get that. There's more to them. There's substance to them for sure.
I also feel that Ivan, everyone's talking about Bennett's IQ. I felt this the whole way. Joe's a doctor, and Ivan is a rocket scientist. It's an aeronautical engineer. They have to have very high IQs as well. So why are we not discussing that? I don't get it.
Oh my God. It's actually crazy. Exactly. I don't understand, but okay. I think it's just because Bennett went to Harvard and Harvard is just Harvard. So we're all like, okay. So
yeah, I guess so. It doesn't make sense, but whatever. I see you guys. I know you're all smart. It's cool. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them were. It's great. I also just can't believe that there's only a few episodes left. So next week, just programming note. Apparently the Monday episode is the conclusion of this rose ceremony, and then the men tell all, which I just hate. I hate the men tell all. It's so stupid. You don't learn anything, right? Especially now that also everyone does podcasts. Like they go on a podcast tour. Like you don't learn anything new.
That's true. We've
learned everything there is to know about, Spencer.
Well, they can't break those NDAs. And
if they want to go to Paradise, they have to follow the rules.
Exactly. Or if they don't want to be sued by Luke P.
Yes.
He got sued for a lot of money.
I know he did. So you just don't learn anything good. And then after that, it is allegedly like hometowns, like meeting the family. I don't even know if that means
what. I don't understand what's going to happen, but
Me
excited
neither.
to see.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have a Zoom call with their families, It'll be like really awkward. They'll be like, "Oh, you talk first. Oh, what?"
I hope there's a family that wouldn't agree to come. That's my hope. They're just like, sorry, we won't travel with COVID. It would be totally legit.
It would be. I would totally understand. I would probably do the same thing. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. All right, it's official. I think I've discovered the ultimate coupling of all time. Like any good relationship, they really balance each other out. One is super sweet, and the other, well, they can be a little nutty sometimes. It is, of course, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. So perfect, some would call it true love. Find Reese's now at a store near you. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see them coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code VISIBLE24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms.
Yeah, completely. Some news came out today, completely unrelated to The Bachelor, but related to reality TV that I wanted to discuss with you, get your take on. Kris Jenner announced on her own social media the Jenner Kardashian clan has a deal with Hulu starting in 2021. This is a huge coup for Hulu, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely wild. Liz Kelly shared this in a little tea time Slack, and this blew my mind. I mean, like, I should have known already. Like, this family is always scheming. Like, Kris Jenner is an evil genius, but I'm just like kind of shocked that they're gonna leave Eve for Hulu. I mean, good for them and good for Hulu, but this is what I really thought this was gonna be the end of the reality TV for the Kardashians, but it's not.
I was hoping it was, so I'm really disappointed. Kourtney Kardashian tweeted #Hulu 2021, and
Which
Kris tweeted
is wild.
I mean, that's just not a thing. Chris tweeted, excited to announce our new multi-year partnership with Hulu and Star and what's to come in 2021. So does Star mean Star Magazine?
Oh my God. I thought she maybe misspelled stars, like the channel stars.
Interesting.
But I mean, I don't know. I just think because I only know that because I know Stars has maybe a deal with Hulu because
interesting.
I know that Party Down, which is an old Stars show.
I love Party Down.
Me
it's
too.
A great show.
Such a good show. Is all on Hulu. So I know that. But that's just me making random
breaking news. Star is a network outside of the US. It's a streaming network.
Okay. Well,
so Hulu's the US home and Star's everywhere else. I can't imagine how much they got.
I mean, I don't even want to imagine because it's so much, and Ryan Seacrest must be so angry.
Oh my God, he has to be so pissed. He's like, I built you guys up, and
is that with my Ryan Seacrest Productions? Yes.
Although it's mostly Chris, but like, what stories are there still to tell? You know, like I don't care about Chloe and Tristan. Do you?
No, it's exacerbated. Like I just think it's very interesting that some of these shows I never really found an audience when you think like, oh, they should have, because like Life of Kylie. Do you remember Life of Kylie?
Of course.
Yes. That lasted for maybe one season. I know it didn't last for 2 seasons. I don't even know if it got the full season treatment, but that never took off. And she is the most popular of them because she has
Is she
more
interesting though? Like, does she talk?
Well, that's
I just
the
feel
thing.
Like, I feel like 22-year-olds.
She's not interesting. She's so boring. But it's like, am I going to watch a show about Kylie? No, I'm just going to watch her Instagram, if anything. And I think that people forget that there have been a lot of spin-offs from these shows that haven't done well. Like the Dash Dolls series didn't do well. Like Kris Jenner had a series where it was like, make me a star, Kris Jenner. That didn't do well. I'm even willing to bet that Kim's like A&E series about her doing like law.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it came and went. It literally came and went. And I think that the heyday of the Kardashians, like when they took New York and they took Miami, and when the best seasons of the Kardashians were happening, was way back in like 2010, 2012.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it was a long time ago, before they were mega famous. This is Amanda and I were discussing this on Jam Session with Vanderpump. Like that show was a lot better when they were really aspirational and they were like wanting to be famous but weren't there yet. And as they get like too big for the format, it's just not entertaining because it feels so forced and fake.
Exactly. And I think that a lot of people, I mean, and myself included, not that I've done it a lot, but you'll just be scrolling for something to watch and you'll be like, okay, fine, Kardashians, because I know in the back of my mind I've seen funny episodes of them, so why not? And that's why I would click on them on E or whatever. And I don't know if people will actually willingly set out to be like, I'm going to watch the Kardashians on Hulu.
I know. Because like part of it was like you had E because you had cable or your parents had cable or whatever.
Right.
And now it's
the
like,
basic cable. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you signing up for Hulu to engage in Kardashian content when so much of it is also on their social media? And it seems like their products is like what actually people really care about these days, not them.
Totally. No, 100%. It's like their makeup stuff. And you know what? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have bought a Kylie palette. Yeah. I deserve to. Yes. And I don't want to. It was
a lip kit?
No. Well, actually, this is embarrassing, but a few years ago, I waited at the, it was the mall in, Canoga Park. Because she had a pop-up and I got something for my mom and my sister because I knew they would really like it. So I got them a lip kit. And then I bought her collaboration with Kris Jenner because she's an evil genius.
She is an evil genius. It hurts me and pains me to say that, but I'm ready to admit it all of these years later that Kris Jenner is a genius. I just like despise her.
She's a great businesswoman. She's evil, but she's a great businesswoman. She's ready to pimp out her children. But
it's just terrible. But yes, I mean,
it is.
She's very successful, very savvy at what she does.
No, totally. And so I embarrassingly, I'm not doing it again, but I will say that I have bought their products. I know people who have bought their products, and it's just one of those things where it's like, they definitely are reliant more so on the makeup line, the, Skims or whatever.
Yeah.
And everything else is kind of damage control in a way. Like, I think Keeping Up with the Kardashians became a huge damage control for them. And that's evident in like Kendall apology. I hate Kendall, but
do you? Why is she the worst?
She's the worst just because she has no talent.
She's a model.
She's a model.
She's hot. She is really pretty. Although I feel like Dua Lipa looks so much like her, but so much more beautiful. Like just so much more beautiful. Yeah.
And honestly, I'm willing to say that like someone like Bella Hadid, I think, is stunning. And Kendall Jenner.
Bella or Gigi?
No, Bella Hadid. Yeah.
Oh, no. Amelia.
I think Kendall, I'm just like, I've seen 20 million girls who look like you. Like, we get it. I don't know. I think she's an idiot and I don't like her. She's a brat. I
think that her face, I don't really know what it looks like because she hasn't been in a show for a while because of COVID. And every photo is so face tuned and like every paparazzi shot is so airbrushed or whatever. It's like, I don't know what these people really look like. Chloe is the biggest offender. Although I will say the product I'm most interested in is Good American, her jeans or those jeans that she endorses. I've heard those are good. I mean, partially from Ashley Iaconetti, who posts about it on Instagram.
Love Ashley. I do really like,
but I believe it.
Ashley's really nice.
She is.
I was talking to Dylan about this. I was like, I stand Ashley, I, and Jared because they are very nice people.
They are really nice people. And also, like, they're two people who were meant to be together. I really believe it. The way they wear those matching Dunkin' Donuts sweats and they just are constantly doing like dress up and like Disney sing-alongs together.
I'm into it.
It's not the marriage I would want, but it's really sweet. Like, it's really nice when people find each other. And I find it so adorable. And like, I'm really happy for them. Like, really happy.
Also, what a story. Like, what a trial and tribulation. And we met them at some bachelor right before COVID hit, actually. And they were so nice. And they were like, we love Juliet. We love Bill. We love The Ringer. They were so nice.
They are really nice people. And I'm not just saying that because they like us, but they really are so genuine. And I think it's because they're happy, by the way. Like, a lot of people in Bachelor Nation, I think, are not necessarily that happy, but like, I think they're happy with each other.
Totally.
And like, it's really beautiful. I wish them the absolute best.
No, it's so funny because we met them and they were just, I could have been lying and been like, yes, bachelor party and Ringer, but they were so nice. Actually, I was like, turns to Dylan, and I'm going to embarrass Dylan because I know he listens to this podcast, but she was like, you look like James Franco. And she was just like, yeah, whoa. She was like kind of hitting on Dylan. And I was like, get it.
Well,
but also
married,
like,
but okay.
Right. Yeah. But they're so nice. They didn't have to be that nice.
Anyway, they endorsed Good American jeans. The ones that she did. That ones that Khloe Kardashian also endorses. So maybe like slightly interested. They used to have that mall at the store at the Americana Mall in Glendale.
Yes.
I think it closed though, but
a pop-up.
I just really thought we were done with Kardashians on TV. Clearly I was foolish. That was wishful thinking.
Yeah.
And now we have so much more coming. I'm curious to see what the programming is though. They can't just run it back with Keeping Up because that was falling off. So I wonder if it's going to be like a bunch of different shows. I'm also curious. I legitimately think that Kim is really into her legal life. And
maybe. I don't know if I believe that, but yeah, you can believe that.
Maybe that will be part of the TV. I don't know. I've got a lot of questions, but I think this is a huge coup for Hulu.
I think that they're gonna do, I think Courtney, because she's like best friends with Addison Rae, which is a little weird to me, but I think there will be like a Courtney Addison Rae show, which is interesting that Courtney was like Kardashians moved to Hulu when she was like, I don't want to be a part of Keeping Up with the Kardashians anymore. So it's just like, interesting.
So she knew there was greener pastures ahead.
Exactly. And it's like, why else would you hang out with a 20-year-old when you're like 41 with 3 kids? I just don't get, that's a little weird to me.
I agree. Bennett would agree as well.
Yes, exactly.
On the topic of the Kardashians and reality TV, what about Scott Disick dating Amelia Hamlin of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fame? I mean, she's quite young.
She is like 19.
He's a father of 3.
He is a father of 3. That is true. Did you see that he like called out some guy on Love Island?
I did not. God, Scott is just getting his talons into so many reality franchises. Jesus, yes. Scott. He's looking. He's throwing it something out and seeing what sticks.
I know, which you know what? I applaud that.
I think I've said this before. I've only seen one full episode of the Kardashians. Is when they went to Thailand. Wow. Literally only one. They went to Thailand.
I don't even remember that.
Khloe, there was I think it was right before she got divorced from Tristan.
Or you mean Lamar?
Was it Lamar?
She was never married to Tristan.
I know if they weren't married before they got separated, perhaps.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, I know that Scott's supposed to be really entertaining, but I just despise him. I only like the jokes about him. I like the Lord Disick jokes and the American Psycho jokes. He would have been a great Bachelorette contestant, honestly. Unfortunately, he ended up in the Kardashian world, but he would have been the GOAT contestant on the show.
He would have been in the vein of Bennett and Jordan, et cetera, et cetera. Scott is just a train wreck. And he is not a good person, but when you just sometimes you watch people and you're like, I know as a fact that you are not a good person and I shouldn't like you, but there's something about you. You're very memeable, you're very quotable. That's Scott Disick, and he has some great moments from the first few seasons of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and there was a part and a way about him that didn't I don't want to say it kept them grounded, but he would bring up things that they would all be like, oh, okay.
He just didn't play the game, so
exactly.
He would force them into uncomfortable spots.
Exactly.
I haven't watched it. It's just my understanding.
No, that's exactly what he did, and it's very funny. And there's this one moment that everyone quotes is when Kim was like, "Oh my God, we got a free yoga membership," and he was like, "Oh yeah, you could never afford that," or something. He just calls them on their bullshit, which I appreciate. But now he's he's making his talentless clothing line. He's dating 19-year-olds, and it's just oh my God.
Just want more for yourself, man. Although I don't know what Scott Disick ever wanted for himself, but he really should have. He should have been the Paradise bartender. Although I will say, Hulu and ABC are both part of Disney, so maybe there can be a crossover. We can't rule it out at this point. I mean, who knows? I'm sure they watch. They tweet about it. I think Kim tweets about The Bachelorette. So
oh yeah, because she had that FaceTime with Chris Harrison. So
yes, exactly.
Love that.
So perhaps there's some kind of future. That's just a really big deal in the reality TV landscape, which we keep tabs of here, and it's a big. I think it's a big deal for Hulu.
It's wild, and maybe there will be. And I don't mean to be okay. Also, here's another thing about Hulu, but they do have a lot of the Real Housewives seasons, older seasons and
Love Island. They've got old Love Island, I think.
Exactly, which is Netflix, get it together. But yeah, so it's just interesting that Scott is now kind of in the Real Housewives conversation.
He's the master of Hulu.
Yeah, Scott Disick. You look up the masters of Hulu. Scott Disick. Yeah. So I guess happy. Well, I don't want to say happy for him because that's a little predatory and weird, but it's interesting. Sure. I mean, you know what?
Good luck, everybody. Good luck.
Yeah, on exactly.
I won't be watching the shows, but I'm curious to see what they do.
Oh, I will be watching the shows, so I'll let you know.
Yeah, thank you.
Anytime.
Last thing for today, Amelia, who is your prediction for who Tayshia picks?
Oh my God. I think Tayshia is going to pick Brendan.
Brendo. Nice.
Brendo. Yeah, 100%. He's just a nice dude.
He seems great. I love Brendo. He's my favorite. He's my favorite for Tayshia. Ivan is my favorite in a vacuum. I think she picked Zach. There was just something about the way she snuggled into his arm.
Okay.
That I think she picked Zach. That's my take. I feel like the wedding photo shoot was a big deal. And I think she's just into that guy.
Yeah, I feel like she's going to pick a guy who has been married before, and that kind of narrows it down.
Zach or Brendo.
To Zach or Brendo. And there was, when she went on that first one-on-one with Brendan, she was like, I feel like I can marry this guy. He might be my person. And I was like, wow.
I know. He seems so goofy. That's why I really like him. I love a goofball.
But she loves a goofball too. She loves
one of the most endearing qualities. Yeah, no, she really does.
He's just a sweet man, and nothing,
I think the
against
Bringer
Zach.
loves Brendo. Like, I just feel like he's everyone's pick. We all love him. What's not to love?
No, truly, there's nothing not to love about the guy. He's very sweet and just a good person. And I just, the moment he was like, I may not be the most good looking guy or, the smartest guy, but I'm well rounded. That's not sexy, but it was just like, yes.
I know.
It's just so sweet and relatable and just, I don't know. I really like him. I think he's a good guy. So
I agree. All right. Well, Brendo and Zach, we've got our eye on you. Next week, we're doing 3 episodes. Yeah, we are. We're
I
doing
love
3.
that. I can't wait.
Monday, we got to talk about the Men Tell All, which I think I said I historically hate, but got to do it. Tuesday, Hometowns. Thursday, B-side. 3 times next week, people. Hopefully, I'll be entertaining and we'll get some good guests. We'll see. Amelia, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Everyone have a great weekend.